Be me. It's November 26th, 2024. You're on your laptop in bed watching the premiere of your newest video. It's about 3D printing again, this time a mixed bag of different fandom passions. The thumbnail is clickbait. The video is a lie. Everyone in the chat is so excited for you to finally talk about 3D printable Bakugan, but it's a lie. You're pretending it's about Bakugan because that's the only way to get your core audience to click it. And you need them to click it because you need to tell them something important. In a way, it is about Bakugan. The fact that Bakugan scares you now. The fact that talking about Bakugan is hard for you now. The fact that Bakugan is over. It's September 13th, 2009. You just saw a Bakugan toy commercial on TV for the very first time, and you think it looks pretty dumb. You never had Pokemon, and Pokemon ripoffs are never successful. But what you don't know is that Bakugan is already a global phenomenon, and in 2 weeks' time, it is the only thing your friends are going to be talking about. You've missed this because you're homeschooled, so your broader exposure to child culture is, let's say, limited at best. No matter how old you get, this never really changes. It's January 1st, 2019. You just got served a YouTube ad for Bakugan Battle Planet. The greatest toy line of your childhood is coming back. Unfortunately, all of your friends that you used to play with moved away years ago. You haven't played card games since then. It's whatever. You think the new version is probably gonna suck anyway. It's November 24th, 2019. After a hard-fought tournament of children, YouTubers, and YouTuber children, you just became the Bakugan TCG Invitational World Champion. Next year is the start of the pandemic, and there will never be another official Bakugan tournament again, so your position goes unchallenged in perpetuity. You win a trophy and a jacket, and they name a Bakugan after you. You feel guilty, because pretty much everyone expected this result from the start. It's October of 2009. Your best friend opens a Fear Ripper on your mailbox. You've never seen a Bakugan in person before, but every opinion you have ever had about Bakugan changes in an instant when you see how the toys actually work. The next day, you trade some LEGO minifigures for a Pyrus Monoris, your very first Bakugan. You love it. You still have it. And something fundamental has changed. It's today. For the past 14 years, on and off, you've been running a YouTube channel that's ostensibly about Bakugan. And somehow it's actually kind of successful. People really like it when you talk about Bakugan. So now, you're trying to build a 3D printed Leonidas. A task that is way beyond your skill set, but you basically have to. The designs exist, the printer works shockingly well, and the detail is immense, taking hours to print each component, but it's so worth it. Assembly is more complex. It's 2006, and you're at a playground that you call Castle Park. You have finally, after many years of confusion, figured out how to get other boys to like you. All it takes is to be the person who starts the games. To be the one kid who will shamelessly run up to all the other kids and ask if they want to play until there's a group big enough to play freeze tag or whatever. It works. It works really well. And with this strategy, you learn how to become the center of attention whenever you want, in any situation, for the rest of your life. It's July 8th, 2024. You get an email from Bamboo Labs, a 3D printing company who has offered to sponsor you for a series of 4 videos. Unlike pretty much every other sponsor, you have full creative control over these videos. It seems a little too good to be true. Your first thought is, if this is legit, I have to make a video about printing Bakugan. It's obvious, it's easy, but you don't really want to do that first. Later on, you realize that you don't really want to do it at all, and you don't know why. Something fundamental has changed. It's December of 2009. You and your brother have become the indisputable champions of your neighborhood Bakugan League. Even though not a single child in a 10-mile radius has any idea how to play Bakugan correctly. You both made up your own rules together and taught them to everyone else, and now they come to your house just to challenge you to Bakugan battles. In your free time, you watch every episode of the anime religiously. To other boys, you claim to think the show is pretty silly. This does not have the mature and masculinizing effect that you think it does. It's 2003. You're 5 years old, and your favorite color is blue. You're at Sunday school, talking to a girl about Transformers. She gets it. She understands the finer sensibilities of toys. You've pretty much always preferred the company of girls. Boys don't make much sense, actually. They irritate you, they're loud, and they treat their toys like crap. Just then, as you're stacking blocks to make a dollhouse, a teacher teases you about having found a girlfriend. You don't know what that means, but it makes you cry, and you avoid spending too much time talking to girls for a while after that. It's today. You're pulling apart some old Bakugan. The A1 combo does many things, but it cannot print tiny springs or metal pins. You must destroy the things that you love. Rend them apart, harvest them for every salvageable piece of material that they have. Squeeze every bit of value you can before the value fades with the years, forgotten to the past. The creator of these printable files, no shame in feeding, recommends breaking open existing Bakugan for their springs. For Silent Naga, a Waver. For Ultimate Dragonoid, an Apollonier. You don't have duplicates of those though, so you're kind of making do with what you have, and you'll break open as many as you need to get the equivalent parts. For Leonidas though, all you need is a Neo Dragonoid. And that's fine. You have plenty of Neo Dragonoids. It's January 5th of 2010. It's your birthday. You've never bought a single Bakugan before, yet your collection is already pretty sizable. In the neighborhood black market, you've traded other toys for every single one of them because you're just a bit too embarrassed to let your parents know about the new hobby. They didn't let you play with Pokemon as a kid. You thought they'd disapprove of Bakugan too, but they didn't. Your favorite color is red now. You've been mulling over changing it for a while, but now that one of the neighborhood kids has already called dibs on using blue Bakugan, when you take your birthday money to the Target to buy a single pack from the newest season, you choose a red Bakugan. It's a Neo Dragonoid. It's January 5th, 2019, your birthday. You've just bought a few of the brand new Bakugan, and on a whim, you decide to film a video for the old Jet Kuso YouTube channel. It's hilarious. It's a really silly thing to do. You're a professional video producer now. You own a company with your brother making commercials for local businesses. He's the cinematographer, he makes it all look good, and you do all the other parts. But hey, your video career started with Bakugan, so how amusing to film an unboxing for your old childhood YouTube channel. The goofy old vest you used to wear actually fits you now. The next day, the video goes live. People comment that they remember you. A lot of people, actually. People who used to watch you as a kid, when they were kids. And they remember you. It is the strangest feeling of your entire life. And something fundamental has changed. It's November 1st, 2011. You're at an Army-Navy supply store, trying to find a black vest. Your character in the online game Bakugan Dimensions, Jet Kuso, wears a vest. When you appear on camera for the first time, you want to look like him. That's what Jet Kuso looks like. Without a good character design, no one online is going to remember who you are, so you're looking for a vest. The breakout viral success of your video, Awesome Bakugan Trick Shots, made on a whim with your brother, has filled you with dreams of YouTube success. With a startlingly gay understanding of fashion and visual identity, you enter this world with an edge over all the other prepubescent 13-year-old boys. Unfortunately, when you find the perfect vest, your parents force you to buy a child's large. You are not a large child. They say you'll grow into it someday, but every time you make a video, you have to pin it back with safety pins so that it looks like it fits you. If you turn around, the internet would see the pin, the gathered fabric. They'll know that it doesn't really fit. You're pretending to be Jet Kuso, but you aren't. Not yet. It's March 20th, 2019. You post on Reddit about your new Bakugan meetup group. The new TCG is amazing. The group that forms as a result of this post becomes your social circle for the next 5 years. You love them, and you will love them. And because of this group, you meet your partner, a girl, unexpectedly, who you talk about Transformers with. She gets it. The finer sensibilities. These are the good old days, and the connections you make sprout roots that burrow much too deep for the end of a fandom to tear them up. When you meet her family, though, you don't talk about the fact that you make Bakugan videos on the internet. It's April 19th, 2021. The toy company Spin Master contacts you, a 23-year-old boy child, to be an official representative of their new Bakugan toy line. You've been making your own videos about the brand for years now. You were brought onto a commercial shoot to do professional trick shots. You and your brother run a video production company, and you know their brand like no one else with your skill set does. You make professional unboxings for their YouTube channel for a couple of years, until eventually, they offer to hire you full-time. You'd be moving to LA to work in their offices, and every single social media post, every video would pass directly through your hands. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, the dream of so many fans. In the last 3 years, you've watched 4 people quit this job. They don't offer to hire your brother, just you. You politely decline, and they do not commission your services again. It's September 1st, 2024. You post one video about Beyblade, and people comment, "Well, I guess he's done with Bakugan. I guess he's a Beyblade YouTuber now." This forms a new resentment in you, knowing that no matter what you do, you will always be a gimmick, always pigeonholed. Individuals may want many different things from you, but the audience as a whole, taken as a collective, will always identify you as something. You can branch out, find variety, but they will always label you as something. Under the wanting gaze of the many, you will always be reduced. By necessity, you will be shrunk and flattened and pressed to your thinnest possible self. And as you mean so many different things to so many different people, as a Venn diagram of demographics forms around you, the you in the middle of them becomes the tiniest speck, and you in the middle are the only one involved who can feel how much you have been reduced. And you hate it. You hate it so much that it makes you want to hate the thing they have identified you with, no matter what you really feel about it, or who you might want to be if they weren't watching. It's today. You put the vest on again, because it's what Jet Kuso wears. Without a good character design, no one will remember who you are, so you've decided to wear the vest again, while you spend hours and hours working on these Bakugan prints. You wear the vest. All endings must return to the beginning. You have to wear the vest to honor the child you're finally killing. It actually fits you now. Fits you so well, it disturbs you. Did your parents know something that you didn't? Would any of this have happened if you'd been allowed to play Pokemon instead? The vest is a child's large, and you're finally a large child. It's now. You run a successful Bakugan YouTube channel, but Bakugan has been paused. It's going away, and you aren't sure what to do. You hate Bakugan, but you love the direction they've taken it. There are so many things you're passionate about, but none of them would appeal to your existing audience. You don't know how to be Jet Kuso anymore. You don't know how to change who Jet Kuso is, and now it's ending. There is no right answer. There is no perfect solution. Something fundamental has changed.
Now before we get started, I've got some bad news. Sadly, this will be the... Before we get started, I've got some bad news. This will actually be the last episode of Baku Lowdown. Now before you get all worried, I will continue to review Bakugan, but I'll also be reviewing other products, such as Monsuno, or maybe even Beyblade. But I'll also be reviewing
I will be continuing my reviews on Bakugan.
Now before you get worried, I will be continuing my Bakugan reviews, but I'll also be starting to review other products, such as Monsuno, or maybe even Beyblade. We should have enough in there. But to commemorate...
Hi, I'm Jet Kuso, and this is the Baku Lowdown. I know I said the last episode would be the last episode of Baku Lowdown, but there's something I just have to talk about. And that's No Shame in Feeding's 3D printable Bakugan.
3D print Bakugan!
Ultimate Dragonoid and Silent Naga are two Bakugan that were exclusive to the first season of the cartoon show and never got made into toys. I always thought they were some of the coolest Bakugan designs ever, and when they never actually came out, it made me doubt whether Spin Master ever really cared about the fans at all. If you care about your fans, you pretty much have to do what they want you to do. Meanwhile, Leonidas was exclusive to the Bakugan Battle Brawlers video game, an epic character who's your guardian Bakugan for the whole story. Ironically, the physical Bakugan toy that came with the game was called Naga, even though a ball form of the original Naga never actually appeared in the show. These Bakugan were not easy to make, but only because assembling all these little parts took a lot of hard work. Thankfully, the printing part was super easy, using the Bamboo A1 combo. Yep, Bamboo Labs is the first ever sponsor of the Baku Lowdown. Using a 0.2mm nozzle, it was able to print these parts with stunning detail. When the first batch of Leonidas parts came off of the print plate, I was blown away by the sharp angles, clean lines, and total precision of even the smallest pinholes. These are advanced prints, but I've never really had to worry about calibration, bed leveling, excess vibration, or anything complicated like that.
Keep saying or anything complicated.
Or anything complicated.
Not like that.
Or anything complicated like that. Or anything complicated like that.
That was good.
The printer handles all of it automatically. It took a few tries using Bamboo Studio to adjust the angles and rotation for the best adhesion, with supports in all of the right places, but once I found the sweet spots, it came out perfect. And now, I can use the touchscreen to reprint Bakugan again and again with just one touch. Or, I can upload my print profiles to MakerWorld so other people can print them using the same settings. Now for Leonidas, I used the AMS Lite to multicolor print him in red and gold PLA, just like he looks in the video game, if you pick Pyrus for your attribute. The layer lines are so thin that it took about 3 days of printing to get all of the parts, but gosh, look at the results, so worth it. I also multicolor printed the Naga in white, purple, and slightly lighter purple, and I think it's one of the best looking ones that I've made. So why am I talking about all of these now? Well, unfortunately, I've got some bad news. Apart from fan creations, there won't be any more Bakugan to talk about on this channel. After trying to reboot Bakugan for a third generation, it looks like Bakugan is going away again. The second half of G3 was meant to be a line called Bakugan Shape Fury, with the same ripcord spinning gimmick as before, but with toys that look even less like Bakugan are supposed to. In the end, maybe it's a good thing that Bakugan is dying again. Spin Master is following the same path that killed Bakugan the first time, getting further and further away from the core appeal of the toys, chasing new gimmicks that no one really asked for. Shh. With stuff like this, you pretty much just need to keep doing the thing that you started out doing, the thing that got people interested in what you make in the first place. Because if you lose track of that, then pretty much everyone will stop paying attention to anything that you make. You can't go chasing things like Beyblade or Star Wars just because they're more popular. You don't know how to appeal to those fans, so just stick to your thing. Stay in your lane, do what people say, give them what they want, whether you want it or not, because the only thing you know you definitely want is their attention. I think I might be desecrating a grave in printing these Bakugan in the first place. I'm digging up something long past, long gone, a wish never come to fruition to appeal only to a small handful of people who still remember what we never got. Meanwhile, the whole Baku Lowdown bit really only appeals to that handful of original Yakuza fans who commented on that first modern era video that you were so glad to see me back again. That's who I'm really making this for. But these are not really Bakugan. And that kid never really came back. I grew into his skin, figured out a modern version of his speaking voice, and said, "Hi, I'm Yakuza," while wearing the same vest. It was, for lack of a better term, a joke. And yet, the vest fit better. So I started to do what he did better than he ever did it. And I've been doing it so long now that the current Yakuza isn't really anything like that kid. I've done it for longer, kept it up longer, gradually ship of Theseusing myself into a totally different person with a totally different channel. Except for one board, one plank of the poop deck that I am not willing to abandon, because when he abandoned it, he stopped making videos, and that's what killed him. Turned him into a skin for me to dig up and put on. I'm afraid that the skin is starting to rot. And I'm afraid that you'll start to smell it. Smell that it's turning rancid and fake. And that in the end, you'll leave me while I do the dance that I think will make you stay.
So do I hate Bakugan now? Am I glad it's going away? Because this sure all makes it sound like I hate Bakugan, doesn't it? Easy question, tough answer. These are not Bakugan. This is not a Bakugan video, because I am not making Bakugan. Because Bakugan has been put on pause by Spin Master, and nothing can move within Spin Master's stopped time. What I mean is, these are fan creations. Fan recreations of something that was never really created in the first place. Things that weren't. Prominent in Catholicism, there's a concept called substance. An object's substance is its fundamental reality, which exists regardless of its precise state. A ball is a ball no matter its orientation, its temperature, its pattern, etc. Deflate the ball, and it's still a ball at its core. Tear it up, though, and it loses that substance. It is the same matter, but it is no longer a ball. Probably not the best example, but it's complicated. I'm doing my best. substance comes into play in the Eucharist ritual, in which the bread and the wine is eaten to not only represent the body and blood of Christ, but to substantively become the body and blood of Christ when eaten, regardless of the physical matter itself. This is called transubstantiation, and it's very cool to think about. So at what point does the substance of this filament become the substance of a Bakugan? When the parts are printed? When the springs are added? When the pins are put in? Or is it when I show it to you? When you see it and go, yep, that's a Bakugan, only if I've done a good enough job that that's what it really feels like. A good enough job that you accept it. Maybe that's when it becomes what it's trying to be, what it's saying it is on a more useful level than identification or categorization. I stopped wearing the vest because it felt like I had built a better, newer substance. Through hard work, trying to make the best videos I could possibly make, showing more and more of myself and my real thoughts about real things. A lot of you likely don't even recognize this vest because you came in after that era, and you've never thought of me as the Bakugan guy in the first place. When I added blue to my channel theming, no one said a thing, even though I was really nervous about changing that. I thought I would get backlash from the blue, just because it was different. In fact, I got more comments about the fact that I'm losing my hair at a frightening rate, because it's cool to talk about the bodies of strangers online. The point is, clearly, the Jet Kuso character, brand, persona can change. I've been making videos about non-Bakugan topics for years, but still, I am so genuinely afraid to completely stop. But if I don't, will I ever be seen as anything else? So again, you and I both wonder, do I hate Bakugan now? Easy question, tough answer. I don't hate these. I mean this genuinely, but making them filled me with the exact same joy as when that first Fear Ripper opened on the mailbox. When I got the springs in place, when I got it all screwed together and rolled it onto a card, my heart swelled. I ran around the house, showing it to everyone, the same thing I did when I first got that Monoris. The same thing I did when I got my first Bakutech, and then later, my first Ultra Bakugan. At every stage of the printing process, I was filled with a need to show, to share. That impulse is the driving force of this channel, and clearly it's still possible for Bakugan to generate it. And I didn't think it was. I thought this video would be a drag to make, and I'm happy to say I was wrong. So no, I don't think I hate Bakugan now. I don't think I ever will. But I am annoyed by it. I'm annoyed by the present state of the brand, and now the lack thereof. I'm annoyed when I make something that I think is interesting, and I mostly get comments about Bakugan. I'm annoyed as well by the identity that I've made for myself in the midst of all of this. I've been told many times that my passion is what brings people back, that my true love of Bakugan and everything else that I discuss is what people like about my videos. That's on purpose, because if there's anything that I hate, it's fans and creators who stick around in a fandom well past the point where they've stopped having fun. They see a fandom as such a core part of themselves that when it shifts away from them or they shift away from it, they turn cancerous and start eroding away at what they once loved and everyone else who still loves it because they can't let it go. If I just kept going and making more Bakugan videos like these feelings weren't there, the videos themselves would suffer and you would start to notice. They'd get more and more fake, the resentment would build underneath, and I would become the thing that I hate. And you deserve better than that. I don't want to hate Bakugan. I want to love the thing that raised me, built me, made me who I am. I want to love the kid who I was. I don't want to lose him entirely, and right now that means taking him away from you, to see if he can heal. For the channel, that means no more Bakugan videos for the foreseeable future. And if I do make a Bakugan video, you can be darn sure it's because I really, really wanted to. That red light is staying in my background. Bakugan will always be in my DNA. It will always be in the fabric of the channel. But I need to let go of that tether to who I was, at least in public. Put aside the worn-out, run-dry core of the channel to make room for whoever I might be next. And what really scares me is that I don't get to decide who that next person is. I know I don't want to put away Bakugan just to become the Beyblade guy, or the Transformers guy, or any other kind of guy. But that's not really up to me. All I can promise is that I'm going to keep making the things that I believe in, that carry a piece of the real me. All I can do is try to show something real of myself to you. Through this imperfect medium and all of my imperfect artifice, and let you decide who I am. And while you're figuring that out, I'm gonna keep being me on my own time. So that said, despite everything, this is Jet Kuso, and I'll see you next time. So I know this one was a little bit combative towards my audience, but let me make it clear that that is not directed towards any particular commenter, just the nature of audiences as a whole for any creator, no matter what they do. Having you guys around to support what I do throughout all of the ups and downs of Bakugan has been one of the highlights of my life. And it is a little bit sad to be moving past it, but I hope you guys will all move with me, and we can find some new, really cool stuff to talk about. Thank you especially to all of those who have supported me along this long journey, such as my Diamond patrons, Immortal Blank, Lucid Lana, CHOOKA Bear, RAZU RION, my Titan patrons, Sierra 107, Gusano, Banana Jones, Chell, Gavin Greenley, and Douglas Fern, my Hyper patrons Trouble, Mudorios, Orio, Alyssa Gretlein, Mannsky, Plecopleco, Forrest DC, and HeartlineDai, and 2 new base patrons, Jan Volmer and Vaughn Alexander.